All right, this is Dan Short coming at you from Phantom Works, just going down Harley Row. Look, I just watched Harley and the Davidsons last night, and so when I look at a 47 Knucklehead, I can't help but get kind of excited. A 29, oh, wait a second, I can't show you that because the owner hasn't seen it yet. Let me see what Don is doing. But I found something today in the shop that actually has me really excited. All right, so the story of Dan starts with a 67 Camaro. For any of you who have ever watched the stuff I've done or watched the beginning of the show, it all started for me with a 67 Camaro. So I own a 67 SS Camaro, which is actually in the back right now getting worked on. But through the years, I managed to find a 67 coupe, and I'm going to show you that car, and you're going to say it doesn't look great, and you're right, it doesn't. So that car is up here. This is a 1967 Rs Z28, and of course, being a 1967, for those of you who know your Z28 lore, there were only 602 of them made in 1967, and when they were made, they had 0 markings on them. So unlike the SS option, which had the letters SS, and if it was a big block SS, it had the blacked out rear tail panel. Unlike the RS, which had the full tail lights, the lower backup lights, the Z28s had no markings on them. But of course, I find out that the motor had been stolen years before. So I found something. Now, you guys can check the numbers on this, but as I was going through the shop today, this pile of junk on the floor may not be a pile of junk. Now, I'll tell you right now, the heads are wrong, okay? So anybody who knows Camaro lore knows that this little ugly triangle on the top of that rectangle this is a fairly low performance set of heads. But let me show you something that's very cool. That number right there, ending in 2857, and then the date code here, which I'm going to try and get you guys to see right there, L166, and I'm going to show you something that you won't be able to see, but in the stamp pad up here, and it's so hard to read, what this is that says Z28, because it's got all the right codes on it. That is a 1967 Z28 engine, and what made 1967 a unique engine was the 302 and the 350 both had small journals, and only that one year. So what that means is an engine that we've had in the shop, I don't even know where it came from. It's been here for years, but I was going through the engine rack here trying to find a motor for a client who needs a 350 for a stroker application. And as I was going through the racks, I look at the numbers on this motor, and I got to tell you that the hair stood up on the back of my neck. I got very excited. And so unfortunately, I don't have the right heads, but the heads I can find, all I need is a December date code set of 1966 heads and the 462 casting number. I've already located a guy that might have something very close. I'm still looking, but yeah, so we're going to actually get the Z28 put together, and we already have the cross ram here for it. And again, for those of you who know the Z28 lore, hang on, Don knows the Z28 lore. Don, where did the cross rams come when you bought a 1967 Z28?
In the trunk.
That's right. Why wouldn't they? Well, in this case, now this is an Ampha car, so in this case, the intake would come in the trunk. So bad example of a car, but why did they put it in the trunk?
It was a dealer option only.
Yeah, dealer option only. So it was such a high performance option, and I think, wasn't it a 650 CFM Holly, but there were 2 of them on the cross ram? I believe they were Hollies. So I mean, we're talking like 1,200 CFM of fuel going into a 1967 Camaro with only 302 cubic inches. Now, Don's been working on something. He ran away before I could show it to you, but he's been putting leather seats in the helicopters. So we now have seats that kind of match the 1967 Camaro. So we're going to actually get the Z28 put together, and we're going to actually get the Z28 put together, and we now have seats that kind of match the 1967 Camaro. So we now have seats that kind of match the 1967 Camaro. So we now have seats that kind of match the 1967 Camaro. So we now have seats that kind of match the 1967 Camaro. So we now have seats that kind of match the 1967 Camaro. So we now have seats that kind of match the 1967 Camaro. So we now have seats that kind of match the 1967 Camaro. So we now have seats that kind of match the 1967 Camaro. So we now have seats that kind of match the 1967 Camaro. So we now have seats that kind of match the 1967 Camaro. So we now have seats that kind of match the 1967 Camaro. So we now have seats that kind of match the 1967 Camaro. So we now have seats that kind of match the 1967 Camaro. So we now have seats that kind of match the 1967 Camaro. So we now have seats that kind of match the 1967 Camaro. So we now have seats that kind of match the 1967 Camaro. So we now have seats that kind of the color of the helicopter, and they're in leather. So very cool. I'm going to leave Josh alone. He wants to be left alone. Am I correct? I'm going to leave your face.
Fine, Dan.
Am I allowed to show you?
Yeah, you're fine.
I'm allowed to. Okay, so this is Josh. He's normally camera shy.
Yep.
And so what are we going to do in 4 weeks?
We're putting this in the water. Hopefully going camping up at Lake Gaston and putting it in the water.
All right, so if any of you guys out there are from North Carolina and you're in and around the Gaston area, send us a note through Facebook and, come join us at Lake Gaston. And it'll be about 4 weeks from now on a weekend. So we're going to take the Amphicar and this absolutely beautiful little jewel of a car. And yes, it's dirty, and I apologize for that. But remember, we're only a quarter mile from what I understand to be the world's largest coal transfer point. So this little just gem of a car will get a bath before it goes into the lake. But is this car ready to go into the lake?
At this point, actually, you know what? It'll float.
It would float now, but would it actually go?
Not at this point, no.
Okay, well, the exhaust, we've got the exhaust. It isn't finished. There's a lot of filth in this car right now, a lot of dust. You can see there's just dirt everywhere. But will it be ready in 4 weeks to go in the water? All right, so you got it right from Josh. We are 4 weeks out from putting the Amphicar in the water. So if anybody out there has a set of 462 heads dated December of 1966, please give me a shout because I really, really would love them. Now, the date, here's what's interesting. I don't know if I mentioned it because I'm kind of scatterbrained at moments, but this engine is the only engine I've ever seen in my life. It was poured, that means it was molten steel, molten iron, on the 16th of December 1966, and they did the machine work on the 16th of December 1966. What that tells me, since this was a Friday, that tells me that these guys wanted to go really bad, so they were willing to take an engine that was 2,300 degrees coming out of the foundry and put it straight into the machine shop. You know that meant they wanted beer pretty bad that night. So it's the first time in my life I've ever seen an engine that was poured and machined on the same day. Never in my life have I seen that. So Andy, is this truck just about ready for its final paint?
Just about.
Okay, and this bed, tell the folks, why are you reworking the entire bed of this truck? Because we're not painting the whole truck, we're just fixing all the things that were wrong. But why are we shooting this bed?
I've had a lot of glue and everything else that was just left over and wasn't cleaned properly, and it just was going to look downright ugly.
And what about this bottom? What's going on here?
We're replacing the bed, or the bottom of the truck bed. I think it originally had a steel floor. We're replacing it with wood.
And is it supposed to be steel?
No.
No. And was it done really well, or was it not done really well?
I don't think it was done very well.
Yeah. So we had to tear out the steel bed, and unfortunately there was the way it was welded, it had caused some rust, and so that rust was kind of in our way, and so Andy's done all the prep work, and so now it's ready to go together with a new, and it's going to be a black walnut bed. And let me tell you, I can show you, we've got a huge pile of walnut in the wood shop, and it's going to be pretty amazing. Now, let me stop here and just say to Wyatt, so Wyatt, what did you do with this car on Wednesday?
What was Wednesday?
Okay, we're not sure if he's stoned sometimes. We're just not sure anymore. All right.
Catch me, I'll pass.
All right, so what did we do? What did you do to this car on Wednesday?
So on Wednesday, pulled it out of the booth.
No,
Yeah, pulled it out of the booth on Wednesday.
you put it into the booth on Wednesday.
No, I put it in the booth Thursday morning. 3 weeks later, Thursday evening.
Well, we put it in on Wednesday.
Oh no, you're right. Wednesday.
Yeah, he's doing something. We're not sure what he does or when he does them. We watch him while he's here, and he actually doesn't do it while he's actively at the shop. But sometimes, but he's a really good painter and excellent at cutting and buffing.
So Tuesday.
There we go.
Yeah. So Tuesday, I pulled it out of the booth and completely cut from top down all the way below the water line with 800. And that was a wet sand. Most of it was a hard block, but used a little bit of sponge on like the compound curves. And then Wednesday we rolled it back in the booth, remasked it, and completely cleared it again.
Right. So what do you think of the results? I mean, what do you think of a car that gets cleared? So there's like 5 full wet clear coats on this car, 6, something like that, right?
Yeah. So that in turn means we can cut pretty well this time around when we do the rest of the
Yeah. Now, folks, it's hard in a camera to see just how unbelievably deep the paint is, to see how unbelievably perfect the reflection is. But I mean, you're looking across the room, and by the way, that paint hasn't been cut and buffed yet. Okay, so that is the way it came out of the booth. And so, who are we going to thank from PPG?
Mike from PPG. I don't remember what his last name is.
Yeah, we don't know anybody's last names around here, but Mike from PPG. Oh, okay, there we are. A little bit of sunlight hitting it. Yeah, so this is where you start to see the color. But what just blows me away about this is without cutting and buffing. All Wyatt is doing right now. What is the name of the procedure you're doing? And we're not calling it the little dirts. What are you pulling out of the paint?
It's denibbing. So
Denibbing.
There's little pockets of clear coat that sit above the surface layer.
Well, because there was a little piece of micro dust or something that landed there.
Simple or little like that. So we're just going over it with a little bit of 1000 grit and then following it with some 2000 and buffing over it. Just that way we have a clean, uniform paint job.
Yeah. So you like the effect?
Oh yeah.
Now, do you like doing this kind of work better than the fast collision work?
Yeah.
It's a
Definitely.
little more rewarding?
A little bit.
All right, so now we're going to go chat with Davey, because Davey did something very exciting. For the first time in his life today, he got a 1957 Corvette, dual quad car that was, I mean, look, a lot of the stuff that arrives here is true basket cases before it gets here, but we're just going to ask Davey about his experience, because, well, right now, you're not working on a 57 anymore.
No,
you
I'm
were
not.
on a 57 this morning.
Yeah, I went up a year.
Okay,
And now
so,
I'm a
well, wait a second, but the 57, what was exciting about that car?
Oh, I got to drive it.
You got to drive it. And is
Yeah.
that the first time you've ever put together a dual quad 57 legend car and then taken it around the block?
Yeah, that was very cool.
Yeah.
That was very cool. Thanks for stopping and picking up my hat, by the way.
Yeah. So his hat blew right off because I'm following him in a 66 Corvette. And I found his hat on the road. We had to send that. Bob is the owner of the car. We were sending Bob the video. But David finished up with the 57. And so what have you got in here today?
Well, I've gone on to the next one, which is a beautiful 58 convertible.
And guess who owns the 58?
Another Bob.
Another Bob. So we seem to have a plethora of C1 Corvettes owned by Bobs.
Yep.
So like in the movie Office Space, Bob. So this is a 1958, and we almost had another kind of amazing moment here, because what did we find for this car in our engine stacks?
Your engine stack?
Well, okay, yeah. What did we find in the stuff that
Z28 350.
Well, we found the Z28, but what else? What did we find for this car?
Oh, I don't know. I wasn't part of that.
Yeah, you were. We found a 1958 283 for this car. You didn't know that?
No.
Oh, yeah, we found a 1958 283 for this car.
Awesome.
One problem. The car was made in, this is an early 58, and unfortunately it was a late 58 engine. So the fact that we found a 1958 Corvette 283 was actually very cool. Unfortunately, it was a big letdown to find out that it was actually too late in the model year for this car. So the owner of this car, he's long lost the original motor, right?
Apparently.
So what are we going to put in this car now? Since we can't find the correct motor and he wanted more power anyway, what are we going to put in the car?
350.
A 350, and what are we going to do with the 350?
Yep.
I got to work with these guys sometimes. It's like,
Look, there's so much going on. I can't keep up with everything.
We're going to stroke it. We're going to stroke it to 283, 383,
383.
and we're going to get
Trey Mac 5 speed behind it.
Yep, a TKO 600.
TKO 600.
Yep. What do you think? Will this be a nice car?
Yeah, this would be a lot of fun.
Will it be a fast car?
It will, which I believe some other things should be upgraded.
Yeah, so what do we have to talk to the owner about?
We need to go disc brakes.
Right, so, well, not just disc brakes, but what else?
Power assist disc.
Power assist disc brakes.
Just like what was on the 57.
Yeah, exactly. So we just built a 57. We put power assist disc brakes because as these cars with modern engines or with increased performance engines, the next concern becomes, can we get, look, going fast is cool, but I got to tell you, stopping fast and turning well, both kind of important in the equation. Now, we got Chris with his head buried in a 1960 Corvette. What, this was the car I took out and drove earlier. So what is interesting about this car, Chris?
These brakes,
Hang on, we got...
I don't think these brakes have ever worked.
Yeah, these brakes, in fact, this car got in an accident because, maybe the brakes, hang on, I'm going to come over here and show you Chris's face. Yeah, there we are. These brakes, they've been kind of a challenge, haven't they?
Yeah, to say the least.
Oh, hang on, here, let me... Is that good, or?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, well, Chris is not in a good mood right now, so...
Sorry, I'm not the best of company at the moment.
All right, so we're going to let Chris go and sort of get back to what he's doing. I don't know, that's probably one of my customers calling me because they saw their car and they're going to call me and say, why didn't you show my car more? All right, folks, so I'm gonna leave Chris alone and let him get back to work. We're having a bit of a tough time with this car because it's what's known as a big brake car. And one of the problems with big brake cars were that the brakes were really only designed to work really well when they were super hot, because obviously that whole brake fade issue, so they put high temp shoes on them. And so we actually went back to what we believe to be a correct temperature brake shoe for the car, but unfortunately we're just not dialing it in yet, and I'm not going to let it out of here because I went and did my that brake test, and unfortunately only the rear wheels are locking up now, which is an improvement because when it came in nothing would lock up. So things are getting a lot better. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to answer just a couple questions that happen to pop up. Of course, this car, hang on, I got to share with you this car. This was the one that you guys saw that the customer asked me to cut up, and of course I wouldn't, because this paint, this is original 1967 acrylic lacquer on this car. I mean, the car still has, considering this thing is 55-year-old paint, the top is 55 years old, the seats are 55 years old, the dash, the carpets, everything is 55 years old. It's just amazing. All right, so if there's any questions out there, and hang on, right now, let's see. Supercharge. No, we're not going to supercharge. Missed the episodes on Motor Trend. Yeah, guys, thanks so much. I enjoyed my time doing the show, but I'll be honest, I'm glad it's gone. Neil Vince from Alberta, thanks. Neil, I was born in Alberta, and I tell stories of how cold it gets there. Most people don't even believe it. Yeah, folks, look, it's Good Friday. So what an amazing day, right? Christ today. I was always bothered by the fact that we call it Good Friday because, of course, it's a pretty tough day when you're crucified. But of course, this was the day that Christ took the sins for us. And so, of course, that means 3 days from now, Easter Sunday, he rose from the grave, and we as a result live in a much better world. So, folks, it's a great weekend here in Norfolk. It's gorgeous. We're going to have a truly beautiful weekend. I'm going to sign off for now, and you can thank Audrey or cuss Audrey because she's the one forcing me to come out. In fact, we're going to go see her because she was the one that forced me to do this Facebook Live, and I'm going to make sure that she pays for asking me to do Facebook Live. So, Audrey, you have to say something to everyone.
Hi, Jim.
Hi, Jim. What else? Say something that they can take for the weekend and like it inspires them.
We're not currently doing tours. Y'all have asked a lot about that. And
Why aren't
Dan-
we doing tours?
Because we don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah, because we've got a governor who says it's okay to kill little babies even after they're born, but it's
Okay.
not okay to have a
No.
tour. Well,
No.
that's just the truth.
Oh, goodness.
So that's why we're not having tours, because we're not into killing babies like you're allowed to do in Virginia, but you're not allowed to have tours, so we're not going to have tours. What else? Say something else that...
And everyone still thinks you're my dad.
No, I am not Audrey's father. Audrey has a father, and I am not him. JR, very good man. He's younger than I am. I mean, Audrey's actually younger. Audrey, I know she's aging in dog years because she's here at Phantom Works.
I turned 33 this year.
Yeah, she turns 33. My daughter's 40. Okay, so Audrey's way too young to be my daughter because I started having kids when I was 17. So in any case, Audrey, do you realize it's Good Friday? And did you want to wish everyone a happy Easter?
Everyone have a fantastic weekend. Remember that there are still people overseas, so make sure to check on all your friends that are lonely and friendly and everything like that. And stay out of trouble.